So hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be my final driving review of the 2023 GR Corolla that's sitting behind me. Now this one is a core with all three available option packages that they did offer for 2023, but if you've been following around for the 2024 coverage, you'll know they technically don't make this exact configuration anymore. They only offer the performance package on the core, and then if you want kind of a nicer interior as well as some of the upgrades that this one has, you do have to opt for that new premium trim, which in my opinion, with the updates that they did add as well as changing out some of the interior materials, including the seating surfaces, makes it an even better value than this exact car sitting behind me. But anyways, I'm going to show you around this car very quickly before we hop inside, take it for a drive, and just give you my overall thoughts and opinions while driving, some of the likes, dislikes that I also covered in my dedicated likes and dislikes video. Make sure to check that out if you're interested in a more short, concise format, and also give you my perspective coming from a warm compact hatch owner, as I do have a 2019 Hyundai Elantra GT N-Line, which is the top performance model that they did offer here in North America, because unfortunately we did not get the i30N, which in some regards this car does somewhat compete with. So that's kind of going to be my perspective. Hopefully you guys enjoy it and stick around for the driving aspect, because this car is an absolute blast to drive. But let's go ahead and take a quick walk around tour of it really quick and then hop inside and take it for a rip. So once again, the GR Corolla in front of us is a 2023 model year finish in the red exterior. Of course, the core editions pretty much look all the same, minus some subtle accents, including the painted brake calipers with the performance package and some of the other optional package. And they did change just a few things at the front end for some aero treatments on the front bumpers. They added some, shielding behind the bumpers for better stability and rigidity. And of course, updated a few features on that new premium trim, including front and rear parking sensors, and then some of the interior materials on the seating surfaces. But at the front end, you have LED projector headlights, LED daytime running lights, and LED turn signals, which is very nice to see, including the LED fog lights down below. You have a nice wide opening on the front bumper for all of that cooling and aerodynamic needs of this vehicle for that turbocharged 3-cylinder. You do have all of the latest Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which is very nice, including adaptive cruise, lane centering assist, blind spot detection, etc. The core rides on these black 18-inch alloy wheels wrapped in 235, 40, 18-inch Michelin Pilot Sport 4 summer tires, which is fantastic. I like the 4S's on my personal vehicle, but this is still a very solid tire, especially for this vehicle and all of the performance that it has to offer. You have functional fender vents, gloss black mirror caps with LED turn signal integration, of course heated blind spot detection, proximity entry on the door panels, and then you have the GR4 here on the side skirt. And of course, one of the awesome aspects in terms of the aesthetics is the wide body stance that all of these cars get. It just looks phenomenal and really gives it a presence that not too many compact hatchbacks like this really have on the road, especially today. Now out back, you have some more unique elements, including the tri-tip exhaust. That's certainly a love it or hate it aspect. I don't personally love it, but I also don't dislike it too much. Lots of that black plastic trim. You have more LED lighting with your brake lights, turn signals, and stuff like that. Of course, unique GR Corolla badge on the tailgate. And you have that lovely rear wiper. It would be nice to see the integrated spoiler that I know they do make as an accessory that came on some of the higher trims, including the Circuit and Morizo for 2023. And they have made that available as a dedicated accessory from the factory on the 2024 model. So that pretty much wraps up the exterior. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I'm sure you guys have already seen plenty about it. Taking you for a quick spin around the inside. You're gonna have a mostly basic Corolla interior with just a few upgrades. 6-way manual driver's seat, cloth with the accent stitching, and of course the unique GR headrest. GR badging on the leather wrapped steering wheel, fully digital gauge cluster, and 8-inch infotainment screen, and a lot of nice amenities, including the heated features, which are good on a day like this. Heated steering wheel, heated front seats, automatic climate control, stuff like that. Really here on the inside, it's one of the aspects I've really enjoyed over my week. And of course out back, we do have the traditional Corolla hatchback legroom. So not gonna be the most spacious compact hatch out there, but it is usable in a pinch, I would say. And then finally, you do have the storage space of a hatchback with a fairly high load floor, which I don't particularly love. My personal vehicle has a much lower load floor on the inside, but back here for this vehicle, you do get the styrofoam insert with the 12-volt battery, probably for weight distribution and ease of access, and then an additional storage space with a fixed to flat fit. And then you have the GR stamped in the styrofoam, which is a cool, unique aspect. Okay, you join me here on the inside of the GR Corolla. Let's go ahead and take it for a spin. Earlier this year, I actually saw this car first at the 2023 Chicago Auto Show. And of course, couldn't drive it or anything like that, but I saw this car in at least 2 exterior colors, red being one of them. And I actually never published that video because A, I wasn't happy with the quality of it, but there was a lot of coverage at the time because the car was just starting to roll out to owners and dealerships and stuff like that. So I really didn't think the extra coverage was needed. And my first impressions, specifically on the interior, weren't super positive. I thought it was a little bit overly cheap for the price point. I knew Corolla put all of the money in development of this vehicle underneath the skin, in the platform, chassis, all-wheel drive, engine, etc. But I still thought that they could do a little bit better job here on the inside. And I have to say, after living with the car for about a week now, I don't think it's as bad as I first had impressions of. I think it actually suits this car quite well, because this is the part that certainly puts a smile on your face. So, as I'm sure you guys know by now, the GR Corolla is powered by a turbocharged 3-cylinder, the exact same or very similar engine found in the GR Yaris overseas. Puts out 300 horsepower, 278 pound-feet of torque through all 4 wheels via an all-wheel drive system. And this car, having the performance package, means it has the dual limited slip. So limited slip for the front axle, limited slip for the rear axle, and that can be controlled, the bias anyway of the all-wheel drive can be controlled here via the selector knob down in the center console. It defaults to 60% front, 40% rear. You can change to 30% front, 70% rear, and there is a 50-50 setting for track mode, which optimizes the power to be sent, again, about 50-50 to all 4 wheels, but obviously the computer can distribute that power as it sees fit, depending on the situation that you're in. So that is really, really one of the key highlights and differentiating factors of this vehicle, is that all-wheel drive system. Of course, the turbocharged 3-cylinder is unique as well. And then, of course, all GR Corollas, as of this moment, are going to be sent through a 6-speed manual transmission. There are rumors out there that they may be going to offer an automatic version in the future. And honestly, I think they should in some regards, to open the buyer base of this vehicle, because it is somewhat limiting to only offer it in a manual transmission, but I totally understand why they do it, for the pure enthusiast nature and the old kind of homage to the rally spirit of this vehicle. I would like to see it with an automatic, because personally I think it would be a little bit easier to live with on a day-to-day basis for your sole vehicle or everyday driver, but totally appreciate Toyota only offering it here with the good old 6-speed manual. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have an Elantra GT N-Line, which is the 1.6 liter turbocharged warm hatch, if you will. But if you go overseas, they have an i30N, and that was actually the first mass-produced Hyundai N vehicle, and kind of laid the groundwork and framework for the rest of the lineup. But I would consider that a competitor to this vehicle as well, overseas. Obviously not my personal vehicle, but the vehicle I do own has the same overall platform and chassis as that N vehicle. So size-wise and overall, usability, I can compare exactly to a competitor to this vehicle in some regard. Now, some of the key aspects, obviously, of the GR Corolla versus my personal Elantra GT N-Line. Well, on the inside, the GR Corolla, or the Corolla hatchback in general, is smaller. So a little bit tighter, a little bit more narrow. Lengthwise is a little bit shorter as well. So it's going to be smaller all around. And that is one of the things that I now realize was a benefit of them bringing the GR Corolla to the United States over the GR Yaris. I was one of those people that, when this car was announced, I'm like, man, they should have just brought the GR Yaris over, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I know it's a small, kind of subcompact 3-door hatchback, but that is really what you want for ultimate performance, right? Well, maybe not quite, given the size differential and kind of the size aspects. We here in North America want bigger things and are just kind of bigger people in general. So After living with the GR Corolla, I understand that this was the right decision for them to bring this here to this market. It's a very tossable, very enjoyable size, and I absolutely love driving it. Visibility is fine for a hatchback, plenty of rearward visibility. Side with the blind spot detection is fine, and forward is perfect with these integrated glass inserts next to the door mounted mirrors. And then there's really very, very little hood out the front, so there is not an issue at all with visibility. Now, as we saw going over this rough section of pavement, one of the, I don't know, downfalls is the right word, but one of the small negatives in comparison to some of the competition of this vehicle is the fact that this does not come with adaptive dampers. I think it would greatly benefit from it, and hopefully maybe they can integrate that in the future, maybe on a circuit edition or maybe a premium trim, something like that. But I think the fixed suspension on this vehicle is fine. It's definitely on the firmer side of things. It doesn't take potholes incredibly well, but it's still very competent and soft enough for day-to-day use, especially when you combine it with these cloth seats and the overall cushioning and support that they do provide. And I guess that leads me here onto the interior. Now, the interior was one of the aspects, like I mentioned, from the Chicago Auto Show that I thought was a little bit, well, it certainly is still a little bit underwhelming, but I thought was some of the aspects that they missed the mark on. Now, I think it's extremely functional. There's very little gloss black in the grand scheme of things, which is a positive in my opinion. My personal Elantra GT has like zero gloss black, which I absolutely love. But the interior on this car is incredibly functional. You have a fully digital gauge cluster in front of you with everything easy to read and laid out in a very, very intuitive manner. You have your gear selection in the middle. Of course, this is configurable. Then you have the 8-inch infotainment system, which, like I mentioned in my likes and dislikes video, I think is on the smaller side of things, and I really do think they need to make it about an inch or two bigger, as they have the bezel space for it. The screen itself just sits very, very smallly inside of the actual bezel space that they have. But as a whole, the interior I really think is extremely functional. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video very briefly, they did update it for the premium trim for 2024. Oh, this thing is just planted. Oh, man. But anyways, going back to some of the driver assistance technologies, inside the Corolla GR, we have Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which offers adaptive cruise control, lane centering assist, blind spot detection, forward collision avoidance, automatic high beams, etc. The whole entire suite is here, even with the 6-speed manual transmission. So that is something I really do like about Toyota and a couple of the other manufacturers as well. Hyundai does not give you adaptive cruise control if you do choose the manual transmission. And as far as I know, they still don't offer adaptive cruise control on their N version of the Elantra in general. And the safety systems from Toyota are very, very good. I think it is, I necessarily wouldn't say class leading, but I think it's certainly top 2 or 3 in the class for sure. Lane centering works extremely well. Of course, the LED headlights and high beam assist are great at night, and there really isn't too much to complain about in terms of the driver assistance and what you're getting in the overall package. So I do appreciate that Toyota offering their safety systems here, even with the manual transmission on a vehicle like this in a performance nature. And don't worry, if you don't want to use any of those safety systems and want to shut them completely off, that is very much possible. As we go around this corner, the chassis itself is so incredibly balanced. I mean, I get summer tires on any vehicle is going to make it, handle better, but man, the amount of grip you have and then acceleration out of the turn is just incredible. I really think this vehicle offers something very bespoke and unique in today's world. And I'm really glad that Toyota made a vehicle like this for the enthusiast market. When you think about it, just a few years ago, Ford was in the game. We actually had a Subaru WRX STI, which is no longer available. Of course, we do have new vehicles from, the Golf R. We have the Elantra N. We had the Kona N, which, really didn't compete with this, but was still an N vehicle. Of course, we still have the standard WRX. We have the new Civic Type R, which again, arguably is probably the most direct competitor to this vehicle. And yes, you have front wheel drive in the Civic, but this thing is just all wheel drive, you know, WRC kind of rally spirit that I don't think the Civic offers, you know, the same enthusiasm or just, you know, homage to the old school vehicles. I think that is really where the GR Corolla excels, and is one of the reasons I really like it. Now, when you think about it, we're heading into winter very, very shortly here. It's actually starting to rain on me, but you could easily throw a set of winter tires on this car, drive it year round, and have an absolute blast. I mean, I would absolutely enjoy the heck out of that. I mean, you'd have no grip issues, dual limited slips front and back. You have ultimate grip, braking performance from the large brake calipers up front, of course, won't be an issue. So I really don't see too many negatives from that aspect other than the interior with a winter jacket. Might be a little bit on the smaller side, but it's certainly bearable and usable. And of course, you got the heated seats and the heated steering wheel for those, you know, extreme cold days. So, I mean, it really is a car that you can live with, I would say, easily year round if you're willing to swap out the wheels and tires seasonally. And you have the absolute acceleration from this turbo 3-cylinder. I mean, who would have thought? So I guess as we finish up this video and give you my final thoughts, I absolutely love driving this car. It is an absolute blast to drive. You don't even have to give it full throttle to just, you know, hear the turbo noises, hear the wastegate noises, and, you know, it's just in a world where everything has to be bigger, you know, support family needs. This is a very practical car in its own right. You know, I own a sport compact hatchback, and they are extremely usable day to day. Now, in terms of, you know, some of the competition, I think value for the dollar is good in this vehicle. Do I think it's the absolute best bargain? No, but you are getting, you know, a very bespoke, unique vehicle that Toyota, you know, gave us. Thankfully, I really do appreciate them doing that, because, you know, maybe in 5 to 10 years, vehicles like this may not be around or very hard to come by. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to do it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Which vehicle in this segment would you choose if you were in the market looking to spend, you know, $35,000 to maybe $45,000? Because the Civic and of course the Golf R are going to be more expensive than this vehicle, at least in this trim shown here. And of course the Elantra N is going to be the bargain of the bunch at, you know, $34,000 to $35,000. Now, we don't have 2024 pricing quite yet, but I'm not expecting a big change in that regard either. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys watching, and again, giving me this opportunity to spend a week with this vehicle. And as always, hope to see you guys in the next one.